that today. I point that out to say, one, I love seeing the retirees here, but two, to think that Joe Morris was here for 42 of the 57 years and the legacy that he left. I'm looking around the crowd here. Some of you worked for Joe, some of you worked with Joe, some of you retired before Joe, and I'm calling him Joe. We never called him Joe, did we? It's always Dr. Morris because we had that much respect for him. He was such a quiet leader and probably one of the smartest people I've ever been around. I'll say this, and family pardon me, but Dr. Morris may not have been the best communicator, but here's why. I think he was on step E and thought that you were with him, and we were on step A, or not even to A yet, and he was already so far ahead of us in his thinking. But he was a kind man. He had a big heart. I remember two times, I had the pleasure of working for Joe for 15 years, and I saw him, I say get upset twice. And I remember both meetings, and he said, he would get upset outwardly at the meeting, but he would tell me afterwards, he said, they ticked me. They ticked me. But he had a huge heart, and I remember we talked about this with the budget reply forms. He didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. We could put something down on a request, and he wouldn't say no. He would say, hold for now. Or my favorite is probably, we'll see. But that's how big a heart he had. He loved this institution. And while those of us who are here today remember Dr. Morris and remember fondly all the contributions that he made, it's appropriate that we permanently recognize and forever dedicate his contributions for the generations to come. It's hard to believe tomorrow marks my 23rd year here as an employee of Jefferson State, and I still feel so inadequate to talk about Dr. Morris and how long and what contributions he made. So I appreciate you being here today. To the family of Dr. Morris, we're glad and honored to do this, and this will forever be known as the Joe Morris Technology Center. Real quick, Dr. Morris spent almost all of his time at this campus, so we were thinking about things that we wanted to do to honor him. It was appropriate that it be at this campus, but I wanted to share as well, Dr. Morris was the one who had this. This was his brainchild. And at the time it was Ogihara Manufacturing, now Camtech Manufacturing. They were a partner on developing this building. So it's not just coincidental that we're talking about this space. This was his brainchild, and everything that flows from this is a result of Dr. Morris's contribution. So at this time I'd like to call upon Danielle Coburn, who's going to read the resolution that our Board of Trustees passed back in May dedicating this building. Danielle.
Good afternoon. So this is the resolution that the Board of Trustees passed naming this center in honor of Dr. Morris. Whereas Dr. Joseph Edwin Morris was born on July 6, 1942, growing up in Eufaula, Alabama, and whereas Joe Morris excelled in mathematics and was awarded a scholarship to attend the University of Montevallo, after receiving his bachelor's degree, he earned his master's and PhD from the University of Alabama. And whereas Dr. Morris began his career as a mathematics instructor at then Jefferson State Junior College in 1969, and later held the positions of academic dean, dean of instruction, and retiring as vice president. And whereas Dr. Morris served in many statewide leadership roles, including spearheading the statewide articulation and general studies committee, which provided seamless transfer opportunities to all Alabama community college students. And whereas through his careful guidance, Jefferson State Community College not only expanded geographically, but expanded the opportunities for students across the region. And whereas Dr. Morris's quiet leadership earned him the respect of virtually all who had the pleasure of working with him and for him. And whereas after his retirement on June 30th, 2014, marking 45 years of service to the college, he remarked, "You hope to build a great institution, and then others will follow who will make it even better." And whereas his death on December 1st, 2021 marked the passing of a remarkable man whose legacy will be one of an admired and respected leader who devoted his life to serving so many throughout the state, now therefore be it resolved that on the 11th day of May, 2022, The Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees publicly offered a debt of gratitude for the leadership that Dr. Joe Morris exhibited through his hard work, commitment, and dedication to education, and to the students of the great state of Alabama, and named the Joe Morris Technology Center at the Jefferson campus of Jefferson State Community College in his honor. Dr. Morris loved this institution, and we love him.
Now, the remarks that Dr. Morris left us with, you hope to make a great institution, and then others will follow who will make it even better. It wasn't about him. It was never about him. Everything was about serving the students in this community. And honestly, I hope that we honor his legacy in what we're doing today. I'd like to call upon, on behalf of the family, David Morris to come share some remarks.
First, I'd like to thank President Brown, Gwen, Libby, Mike, Danielle, and all those that had a role in this recognition for our father today. It's been a tough year, but today's a wonderful day, especially surrounded by so many people we love. I wanted to share two stories real quick. One was, I went by my parents' house about a year after he retired. And I saw my dad on the computer, and I looked at it and said, well, what you doing there? It looked like head count comparisons between Jeff State and other institutions. So what he was doing was he was comparing us to Calhoun, which has always been the largest in our group. No matter where the economy was or head count was, he was comparing us to the largest, not to competition, but to know we were achieving what he wanted achieved here at Jeff State. Those comments about he wanted to build be involved in the building of a strong institution so that others that may follow may even achieve more. Well, his role in that is obvious, because Dad, we've passed Calhoun. And I know he's smiling down on that. The other story I wanted to share is one little tougher to tell. So back in November when he went in the hospital, he was in there about a week. Our family was tired physically, but much more than that mentally. I think we were about ready to show one or two of the hospital workers the door, and I'm being kind. But I've been striking up conversations with them along the way. And so one shift change, a guy walked in at 7 o'clock, shift change. He introduced himself. So I asked, where'd you go to school? UAB? And he said, and I quote, and I'm not making this up, he said, why would I pay double for the same education? I think I knew where he went, but I had to ask anyway. So, well, where'd you go? He said, Jeff State. Then he said, well, when I got there, I thought I was going to fail out. Then he said, but with what Jeff State had to offer and his hard work, he made it through. We knew in 20 minutes Dad was in good hands. It's the first time in a couple of days we were able to get some rest. When an alarm would go off, he was in there taking the best care of our family member that we could have asked for. I know, looking back, Dad was going to go home to be with the Lord that month. But that role that Jeff State graduate played in our lives gave us a few days. Got him off the ventilator. The squeezed hands, the pats on the back of our elbows. We were able to let him know how much we loved him when it counted. And for a guy who spent his majority of his life serving this institution, to when it mattered to him and our family the most, a Jeff State graduate came in our life and touched us. I know why Dad loved this place. I know why I love this place. If you think it's a job or just a school to take classes, you don't have your eyes open. You don't see your role and how it plays into the bigger picture. To everybody here today, I want to thank y'all for y'all's role y'all play in the lives this is touching. I know how important it was to my dad. It's important to our whole family, and that includes everyone here today. Thank Thank y'all for this recognition, and I look forward to continuing my role at Jeff State too. Thank y'all.
At this time, if I could have David, family, we're going to have the unveiling of the plaque. We have the ready, Steve?